All right. So this lesson is interpreting graphs and solve problems tutorial. So here we're talking about Vince and his friends go out to lunch on Saturday. They end up spending a lot of money or a lot of time figuring out the tip. So they're trying to figure out the tip. This week, Vince has a plan. He has brought a graph for tips. So he has like a little graph that's going to tell him tips. And apparently on mine, I have my slide narration on or something. I thought I heard some slide narration. That was weird. Um, so when you do this, you're going to be able to like click on it and see it. This is a fun little activity. I don't like how it's talking. My slide narration's off and it's talking. If you want to mess with that, go for it. We're going to discuss it more in detail. So right now, as I always recommend you guys do, look at this and understand what the objective for the lesson is. So in this activity, we want to study how to solve problems or answer questions based off graphs. So we're going to learn about how to use graphs in the real world. Oh my gosh, I don't like this because it's supposed to be off. Sorry about that, guys. I thought it was like one of you. I don't know why it's going off for me. I'm sorry. I don't like how this keeps reading it out loud. um, Basically, here are equations for calculating tip. This is known as a linear function. It's basically saying this right here is always going to be 10% because we're changing 10% to a decimal. Here we're changing 15% to a decimal, 20% for a decimal, and here we just put the cost of the meal. So again, go through this if you want. I recommend doing it on mute because it's bugging me with these headphones going through it. So I'm going to skip through this, unfortunately, because it's very distracting when you're wearing headphones. So don't do this with headphones on or have it on mute. That way you can read it. I have no idea why it keeps reading it, guys. I'm so sorry. Let me try refreshing it, see if that helps. Sorry, I know like you guys can't hear it, but I hear it and it's bugging me. Okay. I think I fixed it. What's up? Oh, I'm doing good, except when this thing starts talking to me. Thanks for asking. Yeah. All right. So this which line represents the volume of water that leaked? So if we look here, here's the number of milliliters, here's the number of seconds. So if we go back to this, what does the x-axis represent? So the x-axis is going to represent the number of seconds. So that part's pretty simple. The time that has passed, right? Nice, simple. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting really distracted by this noise. I'm so sorry. Okay, so which line represents the volume of water that has leaked? So that would be this axis right here, this y-axis. Let me grab my pen. I can't believe I haven't turned my pen on. So here, we're talking about this right here. So I know a lot of this is review. Um, so the y-axis tells us how much water we're losing. So we're going to say that's the y-axis. So pretty simple. Let me know if I'm going too fast, guys. Feel free to type in the comment or the chat. I said comment section. You can do the comment section if you're watching this on YouTube. Feel free to write in the comment section on the YouTube videos if you don't understand anything. I get emails if you're watching these YouTube videos after the fact. So yeah, feel free to do that. So now this is saying, what is the y value corresponding with the x value of 10? So this means that we're going to go to the x at 10 and we're going to move up here till we get to the y value. So that's somewhere in between this 5 and this 10. So if we're doing this somewhere in between this 5 and 10, that's going to be about, what is that, 8, 6? I'm not going to say 6 because it's closer to the middle. So I'm going to guess and say 8. This one was a little tough because it's in the middle. Usually they're not this hard. Um, so that's how you kind of have to guess this. You knew it was between 5 and 10, so it wasn't 10. Just use your best kind of guessing. I don't know why the sound's on. Are your when you guys go through these activities, are the sound on automatically, even though you have it off, slide narration off? Let me know if you guys go through this and the sound. Okay, okay. Oh, that's annoying. I'm sorry, guys. People have told me about it, and I'm like, no, if you have your slide narration off, it should be fine. But something about this activity is doing it, and it's really bugging me right now. I'm sorry. When a graph represents more than one relationship, so usually when there's more than one relationship, that's when we have our x and y axis here. But if we're doing it for a few things, we'll have more than one line. So that's what this is going to go into. Again, because it keeps talking while I'm going through it, you guys can always study this on your own. I do recommend it. It does help out. I just don't recommend it with headphones, apparently, because it's been hurting my ears. And I have to keep my finger on this play button all the time. So see here what I mean, that we have two things going on. We have company A and company B, so we're able to compare it right here. So for this one, hey Carter. Um, so for this one, when we're comparing these lines, it's asking how much will Oscar pay for 2 years of service with company A. So we're going to look at company A, which is this red line, and we want 2 years of service. So 2 years, notice that this is months of service, not years. So it's months, not years. So we're going to have to change this 2 years times 12 months because there's 12 months in a year. So we're looking at 24 months of service. So probably like around years, 24 months. So if we do a little line going up, we see that Oscar's going to pay about, I don't know, like $65. But we don't have a 65, so we're going to say about $66. So again, a lot of this is review, guys. I'm not going to go through a lot of these, mainly because this keeps talking to me. Oh, it didn't talk to me right now. Yay. So how much is he going to pay for company B for 2 years? Well, 2 years is still 24 months. So we're going to go up to this 24 months. Going to go all the way up, all the way to company B, which is in blue. So I guess I should have change this to blue. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go to blue. And I see here that it's like at the $70 mark or a little bit above it. I'm sure if I zoomed in or something, let me see if I can zoom in. Oh, I can zoom in, but it messes up this. I can see that right here. It's a little bit above that 70 mark. Let me zoom back out. A little bit above it. So I'm going to say it's a little bit above 72 or 70, which is 72. I usually just mute the computer. That makes sense. But if I mute the computer right now, Victoria, I wouldn't be able to hear you guys if you guys talk. So that's not an option for me. But that's a good tip. Like, yeah, you guys should mute your computer if you guys don't like hearing this. I can't show you guys how to do it on here because my mute button is literally on the screen you guys are on. All right, so now we're going to see which company is cheaper at 5 months, or at which point is company A cheaper than company B? So company A is in red, so I'll use red. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to see that company A is more expensive at first. It's higher up in the graph. But then once I get to this kind of like in between 10 and 15, it becomes cheaper. So about at 20 months, I know it's cheaper for a fact. Because if I go up from 20, I hit company A before I hit company B. So I'm paying less money for company A at 20 months. All right. And then it's saying choose the coordinates at which point company B costs the same. So when we're looking at something that costs the same, we're looking for what's known as the point of intersection. So that's probably around here. Let me zoom in a little bit to kind of help make it easier. So if I zoom in, Control plus, you guys can always use this. It's a little annoying because it makes everything bigger, but if I look here, it's about right here. So if I go down, it looks like about 12 months. So I'm going to zoom back out. So about 12 months, $36. Well, 12 months, yeah, that's about $36. So this means after 1 year, you're going to pay the same for company A and company B. And then if you want to have your sound on, this thing was telling me about the break-even point. So that's the point where neither of them are more expensive. At 12 months, it costs the same thing. So that's what it means when these lines intersect. That's where we break even. That's where these lines are the same. If you guys did Algebra 1, unit, I want to say unit 4, there was a question about the break-even point. It had to do with beanbag chairs. So if you guys did the packets for Algebra 1, you guys should be familiar with this. So here it's also going to explain how we find how much that break-even point is. So this is also showing an answering machine for the same service. Again, this is just a tool to help you learn it. I'm skipping them because it's hurting my ears. So now what we're doing here, at which number of months would the answering machine service be the cost the same as point A? So we're basically just asking, when does this answering machine, this purple line, cost the same as point A? So that's just a matter of going here. Oh, look, all of them are intersecting. So it's probably going to be that same 12 months. It's not going to be 15 because 15 answer machine is cheaper. At 36, the answer machine has been cheaper. So we're going to say 12 months again. Is this making sense? Am I going too fast for anyone? Everybody good? Yes, no, maybe? Cool. Sammy, I saw you shake your head. Like, is it good? Okay, cool. Oh my gosh. And then this, I feel like this is doubly annoying because I'm explaining everything and then this explains it again. So again, feel free to skip this when you guys do the tutorial on your own because I'm literally explaining everything this says. So now it's saying at 10 months, how many dollars? Okay, so at 10 months, so we're gonna like highlight this. I think you guys have highlighter tools here. So I have this cool little pen that lets me write on it. But if you guys want to highlight stuff, you can always grab a highlighter and be like, okay, cool. So I want to highlight this 10 months. So I'm going to highlight the 10 months. I'm going to grab this highlighter, highlight this 10 months. I don't know why it's not letting me highlight. Oh, it doesn't let me highlight because I'm not a student. So basically, if I did this, I would ruin the highlight for whichever student I'm under. which is ironically myself under a different email. But you guys can always highlight yourselves. I'm going to use my highlighter tool to do it. So I'm going to be like, oh, 10 months of service for which company? Oh, company B instead of the answering machine. So I'm going to compare how much money he's saving. How many dollars will he save? So, and that's happening at month 10. So we're going to go to month 10 and I look here, and between company B, which is this blue compared to this purple, I'm going to try to figure out the gap. So if I figure out that gap, I say, oh, it's about $36. Again, you're estimating, so it might not be exact. Minus, if I go over here, it looks like, I don't know, like 20, 25, 26. I'm going to say 25. I don't know. It's not exact. But if I subtract these, I get 11. So I know it's not 0 because they're not the same. I know it's not 6 because I might be bad at like kind of guessing where that is, but I know I'm not that bad. So I'm going to guess it's going to be 12. Why? Try again. What? What is the difference between the two lines in the graph at 10 months? Month 10, company B, which is the blue. It is 6. That's a good guess, Sammy. Sammy's right. It's 6. So I think I don't know what I was doing, but Sammy's right on point. Good job, man. Um, yeah, it's like it looks like it's 30 and 6. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Thank you for speaking up for everyone, Sammy. Sometimes I don't see you guys in the chat, so thank you, Sammy, for pointing that out. Yeah, guys, you're right. It is 6. Because I looked at it a little weird. I don't know why I thought it was like 24. You're right. It is 6. I'm sorry. So now it wants us to know at 24 months. So I'm going to use my highlighter tool again. 24 months, and I'm going to compare saving. So saving is this idea of subtracting how many dollars between the answering machine and company A. So I'm going to go to 24 months, which is about here. Here's my answering machine lined up there. And then right here. And I see that company A is about $65, would you guys say? Maybe I'm this bad, I guess. So I'm just gonna let you guys kind of tell me. I'm gonna guess 65 is what company A is at, and the answering machine we know is at 36. So if I subtract this out, I'm getting about 30. Hopefully, I'm not that bad at guessing. You guys might be better. My It's 30. All right, cool. Do. Yep. Okay, cool. Sammy went ahead of us and did it. Good job, Sammy. All right, so now at 24 months, how many dollars are we saving? And we're going to be comparing A and B. Are you just like running through this, Sammy? All right, so Sammy saved 4. And again, guys, I don't discourage you guys going ahead of time. I'm just explaining it, but yeah, it's 4. So at 20 months, we see that it's a little bitty gap, and that's why it's 4. All right, let's see what we're doing. Did you get this one too, Sammy? 20 and 60. Okay, go for it. You can always watch the video later. All right. So 2060, which of the following is true? So I okay. Bye. All right, guys. So he actually does have a point at 20 months. So this is telling us that at 20 months, we run into company B and it has a cost of $60. So at 20 months, company B has a cost of $60. So it doesn't say it here, but it should. Plan B has been in use for 60 months. That is not true. It has a cost of $60. So again, you just line them up. I remember. Nope. You are. I was like, I'm going to put you on mute, Sammy. You have been muted. You can always unmute yourself. I'm just messing with you, but oh, you have to unmute yourself. I can't unmute you. I can mute you, but I can't unmute you apparently. You can. Here's another graph. It shows weekly mileage for these three people. So here's our weekly mileage for these three people. I'm just going to go straight into the problems because I don't like this. I don't like when machines talk at me. So I'm always hitting this play button or pause button. All right. Rich, which runner needs to be at 25 miles in 10 weeks? So if we go here, we're trying to find 25 miles in 10 weeks. So we can do it either way. We can either go from the 25 miles or we can do the 10 weeks. It doesn't matter because we'll end up lining up with red runner, which is Maya. So that's all we're doing here. Nice and simple. They're really easing us into graphs here in Algebra 2. So it's nice and easy, guys. Which runner needs to be at 25 miles in 5 weeks? So we're going to go at 5 weeks, 25 miles. That looks like the blue runner. Yep, that is correct. It is Sue. So now, what do the numbers along the x-axis represent? So we're going to look here, x-axis. Oh, that means how many weeks we're training. So it's going to be time. It's not our goals because the training goal would involve the mileage and the week. So it's the amount of time that's passing by. So this one, I would almost think that's it, but it's not. We're actually talking about time here. So it's tricking you by putting the word weekly in there, but it just represents time. What do the numbers on the y-axis represent? That one's easy. It's just your mileage. Or, in this case, our weekly goals. We're trying to figure out how many miles we want in that week. It's not Maya's miles. Maya's miles are the red line. We're talking about our weekly goals here. So again, they're trying to trick you by putting these words in there. So really think about what it's asking. Obviously, if it's Maya, it's just a red line. Is this making sense, everybody? I'm going to have to lower my headphone volume because that hurts every time I go to the next slide. No, there's not even a way to turn it off. So now we're talking about Zoe. So Zoe's this person right here. She runs 20 miles. Y-axis. So we're just going to compare Zoe and Maya, it looks like. So here, they have a common goal by week 20. So basically, Maya's going to have to increase her workout a lot more than Zoe is. So which of the following describes the three runners' goal in the 20th week? So we go to 20. They all want to be at 40 miles in that week. So to run 40 miles in a week. So I'm going to say this. Why do they have, this is 40 hours. We want to run 40 miles. They're not doubling because, for example, Zoe doesn't double her miles. And it's not 40 miles a week because none of them start off. Otherwise, it'd be a straight line. So they want to be able to run 40 miles for that many weeks. Nope, a week. That's our goal because first they're not running that many miles in a week, but then they keep increasing. So by that point, that's their goal. They all have the same goal. So point 2040. What does this mean? That's what it meant was in 20 weeks, they all want to be at that. So by the time 20 weeks hits, they all want to be able to run those 40 miles in 1 week. And it's saying that they can use their thing to check their progress. If you guys want to see how they can use it to check their progress, feel free to do it. Like I said, it's hurting my ears because the computer keeps talking right in my ears. It feels like it's yelling too. I don't know if I have my volume too high. Suppose that Zoe runs 30 miles in 10 weeks, which is true. So we're going to talk about Zoe. So Zoe's the yellow one. So I'm going to use my yellow marker just to kind of keep in touch. So 30 miles in 10 weeks. So I'm just going to use this week 10. So week 10, I'm going to go up here. And so if I look at that, Zoe is saying that she's like over here. So she's running as much as Sue should be running. So there's a gap there. So Zoe needs to start running a lot faster. So she is below her goal. Because the point that I picked was lower than the point she wanted to be at. So now it's kind of like expressing like how far Zoe needs to be. They're literally doing what I just did right now. So I'm just going to skip this slide because it literally shows I go to 10, 30. Oh, she's below her goal. It literally shows you the answer afterwards. I I was thinking that too. I was like, these people are really buff runners, apparently. So they're going to ask us one more question. Which point might represent Maya's miles if she is below her goal? So they're showing us these points, and we're looking for something below the goal. So I'm going to say it's either B or A is below Maya's goal. Because I'm not sure exactly where the points are supposed to be, I'm just going to pick A because it's the furthest down. Yep. So I'm assuming what they're doing is point B is like here, point C is like up here, and point D is like up here. So it's a little off. I don't like how they did this, but now you guys know what the answer is. Unless it shuffles it. Sometimes it does shuffle it around. Everybody doing good? All right. After the second year, approximately. So we're looking at this. Harry has a collection of this many pennies. He's increasing it for a total of 5 years. So after the second year, approximately how many pennies does Harry have? So unfortunately, they didn't divide this out for us. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what this tells me is it's divided evenly 7. So if we take 1,400 divided by 7, each one of these lines should be 200. And that makes sense because at the beginning, he has 160. So every one of these lines represents about 200. They didn't say it. 400, 600, 800, 1,000, 1,200, 1,400. They didn't say it, but you can kind of guess because graphs only work if these have the same intervals. So I'm going to scroll down here in the second year. So this is first year, second year. So after the second year, he has about, I don't know, I'm going to say like 380. You guys can do your best guess. I'm guessing 380. Maybe, maybe less because this is supposed to be 160. So it might even be like 390. Or I'm sorry, I said less because this is a bigger gap than right here. So I don't know, 350 maybe. I don't know. Again, it's an approximation, so that's why they use the word approximately. So if you click submit, it's going to give you like a, oh look, I guessed right. But if you're close to this 350, that's fine. Don't worry about getting it perfect. It's an approximation. Approximately how many pennies does Harry plan to have after his 5 years? So after 5 years, he plans to have about 1,200. Maybe it looks like it's a little bit more, but I'm going to say 1,200. It's probably going to say a little bit more. Oh, no. Honestly, I think Admentum's wrong. It looks like there's a little bit of a gap there, but we did our, it's again, it's approximately. By approximation, what number does Harry have to increase his thing? So by approximation, so we're going to take our approximation of this 1,200 over our 5 year gap. So what they're asking us to do is to find the rise. So remember, slope is rise over run. Right now, they just want us to see how much are we increasing it by. So we're going to increase it by 1,200 minus 160. And if you guys need a calculator, I recommend just doing the Google calculator. Just go on Google, type in the word calculator. It's probably one of the cheapest. Actually, cheapest. It's free. It is the cheapest calculator you'll have access to, and it's scientific. It's going to give you access to sine, cosine, log, all this other stuff that you might need, and it writes it really well, in my opinion. So I think if you need like a free calculator, just go type in calculator at Google, and it's going to give you this calculator. So we're going to say it's going to take him about 1,040 to get this. We're going to submit that. Boom, 1,040. According to his plan, approximately how many pennies does he have to have during his 4th year? So we're going to go to year 4. We're going to go up. It's going to be about 800 pennies on year 4. So I'm going to say 800. 800. Let's find out if that's true. Yep, 800. Oh, how many does he need to add? So if we're at 800 minus 160, again, you can use your calculator to figure that out. 800 minus 160, we get 640. So I did get this wrong because it says how many he wants to add. So after 3 years, he's approximately that. And if you guys write 800, I'm not going to mark you down for it because this is worded terribly, in my opinion. Approximately how many pennies does he need to add to his collection during the 4th year? So what this is telling me, and I only figured it out by looking at the sample answer. So again, I'm not going to hold it against you if you didn't understand what it meant. So basically, his 1st year is from here to here. So his 4th year is from year 3 to the end of year 4. So that's saying we're going to take this number and subtract this number. So that's what it means during year 4. It's worded really weird. I would have liked to see how much does he need to add to his collection between years 3 and 4. Instead of saying this 4th year, it's worded very confusing, but now you kind of know what it means by during this 4th year. The 4th year is between years 3 and 4 because technically the 1st year, I don't know if you guys have taken like studied history where it goes like the 20th century, the 20th century is actually the 1900s. The reason why that is technically the first century is year 0 all the way to year 99. That's the first century. It's the first 100 years. The first year is year 0 to 1. So that's why it says the fourth year. It's kind of like in reference to the first century and all of that. Halfway through the fourth year, his collection contains 400 pennies. So halfway through the fourth year. So if we're talking about halfway through the fourth year, again, we're talking from year 3 to year 4. His collection has 400 pennies. So if this is 200, 400, he is very, very, very far below his goal. So this is 600, 800. So he should be at like 700. So he's about, sorry for my terrible writing, guys. He should be at like about 300. So I'm going to say he's 300 below his goal. Find the point. What are the coordinates of this point? So if it's asking for the coordinates of this point, we're going to do 3.4 because it's halfway in between years 3 and 4. And he is at 400. This is 300 below his goal. That's all we're doing. So it just shows us where it should be. I guess it doesn't say how far below his goal. How many pennies does he need to add to get back on plan? So I think what this is asking is how far below his goal he is. Approximately how many more pennies does he need to add to be back on track? So how far below his goal he is. I'm going to say this is a 300. They're saying about 400. So it's saying like he's at 400. So what this is saying is like if he's over here and he wants to be at his goal by the end of the year, we're taking that 800 minus the 400. It doesn't care how far below his goal he is. He's like, I have 6 months to get from here to here. What do I need to do? Well, I need to collect 400 pennies. What's funny is all these pennies, if we think about it, if he's at 400 pennies, he really only has like $4. I just thought that was like an interesting fact to think about. He's collecting all these pennies. By the end of the 5 years, he only got like $5. $14. So this one didn't care about it. For the evaluation, I would honestly give myself like a 3.5. I would say I had a hard time understanding what it meant by fourth year, what it meant by how many more pennies he would need at the end of the fourth year. The wording was very tricky. So even though like I showed you guys the answers, I myself would only give myself a 3.5 because of all the tricky wording. And again, there's nothing wrong with getting this with not understanding it right away, guys. Math is all about trying to figure out the answer. So now we're going to talk about the summary. So again, if we want to do the summary, we can always click on these. This is a good way to study for the mastery test. And I like these parts in the tutorial. We have enough time to go through some of them because this lets you practice questions that are going to be on the application. So remember, by it's Tuesday, by Wednesday at midnight, you guys should have your application and your mastery test done. The application, I don't care if you guys get it wrong. It's not even going to be weighted in your grade. It'll give you a score, but just to kind of show you guys something. So when we're doing our application, so this is basically just practice for the test. So let's say you're kind of don't understand what to do here and you just guess 5. and you keep like guessing, I don't recommend it. Read the answer and understand the answer. Understand what it means by isolating the variable. Understand all of that. It really helps out. I just realized I clicked on the wrong practice test, but same thing. This application isn't meant to be something like hard for you. It's meant for you guys to try to understand, do your best. I believe even if you get like a really low score, you can come back and try it again over and over again. And it's not going to affect your grade. Only your mastery tests, your post tests, and any activities affect your grade. So that's a chance for you guys to read and understand it. Don't just keep guessing until you get the right answer and move on. Answer it and read the answer. It's going to help you during the mastery test. So, does that sound fair, guys? Just be able to just go in there, read it, understand it, and it's going to help you with your mastery test. So it's basically just practice is what I'm trying to get at. So let's do some practice problems together. If the volunteers have logged 70 hours at week 2, which statement must be true? So here's week 2. They're at 70 hours. So they're logging more hours than their goal. So they are above their goal. They're ahead of their goal. They're working faster than the pace is. Ironically, I want you guys to kind of think of this as like the pacing guide. So if you look at the pacing guide, I have it somewhere. Pacing guide / schedule. If you look at the pacing guide on here, um, if you're finished with your mastery test before this date, you're just ahead of goal. If you're below it, that's fine. Make an appointment with me. We'll see what we can do to get you on the right track. So I think that's very appropriate that we're studying these graphs to kind of get you guys to. If you guys want, I can make a graph on where you guys should be. It's going to be a little weird, but I can try to make one. Let me know if you're interested in me making like a little graph on where you should be. What is the price of the bouquet for 150 people? So if I look at 150 people, oh, I said bouquet, banquet. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Banquet. So 150 people for Bellas. So we're looking at the purple. So we go to 150 and we go all the way to purple. Woof. That's going to be $4,500 right there. If I had done the blue one, it probably would have said something like, we're talking about Bella's, not Lucy's. So make sure you're reading these correctly. Highlight them. Write it down and highlight or underline if you need to. I just realized that one from the goal. But you can see how similar these questions are. Which of the following is an example of the volunteer's progress if they become too busy and fall behind? So this is saying if they're falling behind. All right, so at week 2, 65 hours. Week 2, 65, that's ahead. So if that's ahead, we're going to cross this out. Week 4, 100 hours. So if we're at week 4, 100 hours, this one looks like it's the right answer. Let's read ahead just to be safe. Week 3, 90 hours. 90 hours, that looks like it's right on track. So in other words, our answer has to be this. They fell behind at this point. Let me erase my writing. At which point that shows the volunteers are at their goal. So right on the line. So 80. So first of all, these are weird. These ones with the big numbers. Always remember, guys, it's your X, and then your Y. So right off the back, I can eliminate these because they're way too big. So let me look at the reasonable ones. So 1 and 30, that looks like it's right at their goal. So I'm going to say it's this one. I'm not even going to look at the other ones because that's pretty on point. Yep. Big money. Yes, that is a lot of money. I know, like Nelson said that forever ago, but yes, that's a lot of money. Which is a point that shows the volunteer below their goal. So we're looking at below their goal. So again, guys, eliminate the ones that don't make any sense right off the bat. So let's take a look here. 1 and 25. That looks like it's below their goal. So I'm going to put a little arrow there, but I'm not going to necessarily eliminate it because I'm not completely sure. 4 and 150. That's above. So that's not it. 2 and 60. That looks like it's right on point. So it's right the first time. All right. Let me erase these again. At which one are they above their goal? So I'm looking at above. Right off the back, I'm going to cross out the ones that don't make any sense. We're not even measuring 60 weeks or 100 weeks. So 1 and 15, that's below their goal. Going to cross that out. 2 and 60, that's right on their goal. Going to cross that out. This one doesn't make sense because we're not even measuring 15 weeks. So by default, it should be this. Let me check. 3 and 15, that's going to be right around here. So that is above their goal. Which of the following is example of the volunteers' progress if they can put in more time than expected? So in other words, more time than expected, this means above their goal, above this line. So logging in 100 hours in 4 weeks, that's below their goal. Logging in 50 hours in 1 week, that's above their goal. So it's going to be that one. So we can do it the other way around. We can do Y to X, but whenever we're graphing these points, remember it's always X comma Y, not Y comma X. And that's it. So that's how we're going to interpret graphs and answer questions involving graphs. If you guys can do me a favor,